What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Moderately Successful Podcast, where me and my co-hosts are learning to live life on our terms. I'm here with Chris Chan, Austin Rogers. I'm Matt Campbell. What's going on, dudes?
What is up?
What is good?
It's been a week,
It has been a week.
especially for Chris,
Yeah.
which is why we're going to get right into our first segment. I was actually thinking of this today. We should just call it like auditing, because that's basically what we are with each other.
Yeah.
But is our on and offs, how we've been on throughout the week, how we've been off throughout the week, getting just, talking amongst ourselves. And geez, I can't even talk today already. God.
It's late.
All right, can we
like
start this over?
7:30 already.
Yeah, we're starting this a little late. Haven't had any whiskey. It's all
I
coffee.
haven't.
Anyways, on and offs, Chris. We're going to start with you.
Well, it started off freaking great. I was like killing it in sessions, writing up programs and everything. Everything was going great. And then get a text from my wife at 2 p.m. saying that my dog was gushing out blood from his face. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Maybe him and the little guy were playing with each other. And then I get home after and turns out he has fucking parvo. And so luckily we caught the symptoms early, sent him to the vet, and then, the rest is history from there. But luckily he's good. It's been a stressful 2 days cleaning the entire house. So auditing for myself right now is literally any sort of speck of that parvovirus, I'm going at it. Yeah. But so my on is basically that, but my off would be that I am taking less attention onto my clients. So that's been tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is that pivot like? Or like you can't focus on. There's no goal focus right now. You're strictly focusing
Honestly,
on,
it was like it's been taking a toll on me like the last 2 days where I felt like even for this podcast, I was like, I am not mentally sane to do this podcast this week. But we're here, we're alive. A couple sips of cold brew are kicking in now, and we're chilling.
Gonna be a full night now.
Yeah.
What's the routine look like? Because you said 7 weeks they have to be separated.
Yeah. So
The two dogs.
basically,
For anyone listening.
yeah. So my corgi is the one who just turned 1. Damn, it was literally like after his birthday too. Who just turned 1, got parvo, and then our 10-week-old golden retriever. Basically, they have to be separate for 7 weeks because they can't come in contact since my 10-week-old puppy isn't fully vaccinated yet. So if your dog is vaccinated and comes in contact with a dog that like had parvo, that should be a 2-week period. So like from there, that's fine. Like technically I could bring Levi in 2 weeks, but because of Lola, I'm not going to. So that's where I'm like, I'm just going to keep them at home and constantly having to disinfect everything. Like I'm even asking like my mom to like help out, and which is nice. So she's buying a bunch of other solutions that I've already bought. Like I've been through damn near almost 2 gallons worth of solution for the entire house. Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. Cause we basically like double coated everything. Cause it's like, it's easier when you have hardwood floor. Cause it's like, it can just let it sit for 10 minutes and then it just gets it. And then you can just wipe it versus carpet. You have to like spray like religiously. And like, I woke up this fucking morning with wrist pain because of just squirting the fucking gun.
It's like I developed carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
In the process of
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mhm.
Well, at least you're training.
Yeah. Training my left arm.
functional training. Am I right?
Yep.
Literally functional.
Yep.
So you have to do that for 7 weeks.
For 7 weeks.
How are you and Jen going to split that up?
So she's going to be upstairs with Bruce. And it sucks because it's like he's going to be stuck in an office.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we obviously don't want that. So she's just basically like, today, it was kind of cute. She went through our front walkway, just running laps with him to get him some sort of exercise. And she did 3 laps. She was like, I'm burnt out. I'm just like, dude, come on. It was only 3 laps. And then with Levi, I am basically having him in the corner. Obviously, you guys have been to my house. You know where like that old couch was, or like that little single couch?
Yeah.
So we took that out. And then we basically just made like a little loop in the corner for Levi because it's by the door. And so Bruce is going to go use a restroom out in the front door area and then Levi in the backyard.
Nice.
Yeah. And every time like he basically poops, that parvo is still going to be there.
Right.
So that's where like anytime like I pick up his poop, I have to like wear a glove and then have like sanitize the area or disinfect where I basically have like the parvo killer and like doesn't necessarily kill the grass, but at least it's still something.
That's ridiculous.
So much.
It's like one of those vaccines. You know, when you get, like, I remember getting my dog vaccinated. You hear about it, you're like, whatever.
Yeah, but in a fucking course in Boise, we're like top 3 in the nation with parvo.
Like
Yeah,
having it.
having it.
Oh, really?
So like in SF, like
No one's getting their dogs vaccinated.
yeah, like back in SF, I'm like, like whatever, like cement, totally fine.
Oh, that makes sense.
But then obviously because it's like I think it's more prevalent when there's like farmland.
Yeah.
So when there's farmland, that's when it's high. Because it comes from like animal feces apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, you couldn't have. Your dog was vaccinated, so
Yeah, and I was telling Austin this earlier. Like the vet that Jen just took Bruce to today, basically said that there's been more dogs that are vaccinated and like older, whether they're 1 or all the way up to like 7 years old, they're getting it higher than puppies that are not vaccinated, which just makes no fucking
me
sense.
question the validity of doing the vaccines in the first place. Like, why is
right.
this such a like a pushed thing? Well, you got to get your dog vaccinated. Like,
Yeah,
why are we so?
is it
Ahead of
because
that.
don't you do it annually?
yeah. You're supposed to do it annually. Yeah,
Be-
after they're fully done.
Right.
Yeah,
So I wonder if the older dogs, because people just
they're
they're fine.
Yeah,
They're they
I
roam
think
around.
that too. They're probably also don't do the upkeep.
Right.
Because that vet, not at West Vet, like she had to drive all the way to fucking Fruitland.
Oh my god.
So that's where we took Levi, and then they do a great job.
hmm
But it just sucks because it's an hour there and then an hour back.
Yeah.
But they do a great job, and they said that for some reason it's just more. It's like a higher strain this year than in like the last 6 years. I wonder why.
It's wild.
Which makes no sense to me. I guess probably because we didn't get rain.
Yeah, maybe.
Because rain, so whenever time like there's water, like high water, like kind of like on Wednesday when it was downpouring,
hmm
that's like where it's perfect, where it kind of flushes it out.
How do you plan on managing these next 7 weeks? Are you just like
Professionally.
Professionally.
And relationally.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't thought of that yet.
like are you just like chalking it up? This is my focus right now, or are you
Yeah,
still
so,
trying
like-
to make progress in other ways?
Yeah, so like with my sessions tomorrow, I'm only gonna do like pockets of like 3 at a time, and then 3 at a time, just so that way I can manage that. So I'm definitely gonna take less of a client load, which obviously I'm not gonna be making as much money, but I'd rather keep everybody safe too, and also like my dog, making sure like he's all right, at least for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because the next couple of weeks is what's more higher chance of me spreading it, especially to your guys' dogs. So that's where I'm more worried about that than anything. So like when I got him in my car today to pick him up, I legit sprayed that parvo killer on my entire seat and then just let it sit for 10 minutes and then just use the carpet cleaner, kind of like the one you have at your
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Wild.
So at least with my car, it's fine. It's just making sure like I'm disinfecting myself before I leave the house every single day.
Yeah.
And that alone just takes another mental fortitude,
hmm
and also giving his fucking meds.
Yeah.
It's got to take a toll on your immune system too.
Oh yeah,
You're dying.
dude. I'm not like TMI, but for everybody that's listening,
You have
I
parvo.
I legit pissed today, like literally like half an hour ago, and it was fucking like yellow Gatorade.
You have been no hydration.
Oh no, because like no food and like no waters is on my mind. I'm just like straight clean mode.
Yeah.
It could also be the fact that I've been sniffing like
True.
disinfectants for the last 35 hours.
Blocking any appeal to food or
Oh yeah,
beverages.
Yeah. Maybe that's where you could try to be on. Is it's
that's
like
definitely where I'm
7
at.
weeks. You're gonna be home more. What can you do at home?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can be on nutritionally, but
And that's
I'm
where I
talking-
could focus on other things too.
Like
Opportunity for online stuff to
Yep.
online
Take off.
research on the process with the lip balm.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. How about you, Austin? Ons and offs.
on. So I think I've been taking more initiative to the things that I'm speaking about, which makes a difference. I think the fact that we meet every week sets the precedent to come in here a little bit more prepared, and it just creates urgency. So like I said this week, I'm going to reach out to somebody as a coach, regardless of who it is. So I I reached out to hypertrophy coach.
Nice.
Didn't get anything out of that.
Oh,
Hypertrophy. Wait, hypertrophy.
So
coach?
he
works with Terrence Ruffin. He's a classic physique competitor.
Okay.
The dude looks gnarly. He's got a scientific background. He's got his master's degree.
He's dope.
Really, really thoughtful coach. I've looked into it, a couple other people. I looked into Alan Kress. He
Mhm.
does more like holistic approach. Like I looked at his questionnaire and it was, how much sleep are you getting? Do you have any inflammatory markers? What do you have food allergies? What is your sleep like? And it was super in depth. I ended up going in a completely different direction. I went with the guy that just qualified for the Olympia, Matt Grego. So
That
he's
sounds familiar. Yeah.
going to him less seeking like a coach and more seeking somebody that has clout and is in the game themselves.
Yeah.
More rep. Like I'm going to work with a great coach at some point.
Yeah.
But this is a great entry.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to charge as much. And he's living it. It's like, I want to know exactly what he's doing and his processes to prepare for his first Olympia.
Yeah.
Like we've been texting over WhatsApp and communicating. He sent me a questionnaire, and then I just have to get the ball rolling, take photos, do front, side, back photos, give him all of my data, and then I told him I want to build and create a physique that's worthy of winning classic physique and potentially men's physique shows. And like with the opportunity to progress into a pro level competitor, like I'm ready to push it for a while.
Oh yeah. And I think that's what's nice too, because that's like one thing that I do miss about bodybuilding is there's so much structure within your day
Mm-hmm.
that like you even plan out, like how we're talking about writing out our schedules of like like meal 1 at X whatever hour, and then like clients XYZ at these hours, and then meal 2, 3, 4, etc.
And that was part of his questionnaire also. He's like, give me your 6 meals, meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. How do you, what foods do you adjust well to? What foods do you have aversions to? Where do you feel most comfortable building? What body fat do you feel most comfortable building? So it's decently in depth
Yeah.
for somebody that is, I think, at the next phase of where I want to get to. The guy has hundreds of online clients, and he has the clout because he's just a high level competitor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not because he has degrees, not because he has all these certifications, but he lives it, and he's been able to transform. He coaches himself.
Oh, really?
Dang.
So he's coached himself through all of his preps to becoming a men's physique pro and to now being a classic physique pro. So he transitioned from men's physique to classic physique this year, won his second ever pro show, and now he's going to be at the Olympia. And he looks
Holy shit.
gnarly. So
That's legit. I think that's a good idea, though. I was listening to Brian Panuzzo's podcast, the guy we had on, and he was talking about, how did he put it? I think he was on someone else's podcast, but it was basically, I'm going to totally mess this up, but you guys will get the idea. Is like second graders look up to 8th graders. Like they're, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't, kind of like when you're in high school, you look up to adults, and you're like, well, you're so grown up.
right.
And it is kind of like you just have to look up at the next step. So instead of being like, oh, the guy with the degrees, like the Hanny Rambas and what, like the people like
Exactly.
that. It's like just look at the next guy where you want to be,
Yep.
and you're going to learn so much more because it's almost like reachable.
Right.
at that
That's how
point.
I scaled it down too. I'm like, this guy's doing what I'm doing. Like, I would love to work with a person with an exercise science background that has tons of top level competitors, but I want to just get a coach first and see how I handle just being coached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to like really 100% commit to somebody that's going to be super diligent
Right.
and like holding me accountable to
Yeah.
every aspect.
Yeah.
I just want to get my feet wet.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like
So,
that though.
See how I can integrate it, get back into an accountability routine. Got to eat. Like that is number one for me. Eating and sleeping and resting. Like stop overtraining, stop doing too much. Like I'm excited to have a program and to follow it. And like, here's your rest day. Not doing shit.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
shut
resting.
it down. You're resting. You're growing.
And that's like what's like crazy or like not crazy, but it's funny how like we always tell our clients like you got to be coachable if you want to like work with me. But like when ourselves like I'm not fucking listening to you.
And I'm wondering like how I'm gonna take his advice too, because I'm like, if I have beliefs about something,
Right.
I'm probably not gonna follow the plan. So like if
Yeah.
I believe like that's where the exercise science and those like
Yeah.
high level coaches make a difference. But I want to see if I can take, constructive criticism
Yeah.
and just a different outlook. And if he truly cares and he's like caring about me as an athlete, then I will give my full commitment.
Is that where maybe him having, some skin in the game at this point might make
Yeah.
a difference? Because you might like challenge it, and then he's like, "I'm doing it."
I'm interested
right now.
to see that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm
Like from
interested
his
to see
like
that.
own anecdotal experience.
So that's what I told him when we first discussed. I'm like, I've been working out for 18 years. I've been doing this for a very long time. I have a pretty in-depth knowledge of how this stuff works. I think I just want somebody to lead the way and take the reins for a little while. And he's like, yeah, man, I get it. Like, I think that makes total sense. You seem like you have an idea of what you're doing, but I don't have no doubt that I could help you, and I'd be happy to take you on. So that was the response that I wanted. I think that's
Perfect.
sounds like he's open to having discussions on things. It's
Yeah.
not just like my way or the highway.
Yeah.
you have like a timeline in mind.
I told him I want to build for at least 6 months
Mhm.
and then potentially do like a 2024 fall show, like really grow
Yeah.
and just see what I can do. And
Do you plan on like seeing exactly where like you want to do the show, so we can like pick out flights already?
I would-
Seriously.
because I've done the Idaho Cup twice,
$100.
I want to come do the Idaho Cup again and just wreck it and win it.
Yeah.
And just take it, because the last two, like the first one was just like I had a 7-week prep.
Mhm.
I went straight from just working out to like Tom was like, hey, let's do a show. I'm like, okay. 7 weeks of prep. I didn't show up and look the greatest, but it gave me like the opportunity to step into that lane and see how I could perform.
Mm.
And then that second show, I just committed to it on my own. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to prep for this. And I coached myself and feel like I learned about my body
Yeah.
and learned what I need to do. I think there is something to being intuitive and being a bodybuilder. I think coaching yourself initially is probably a great way to go.
Oh yeah.
If you feel like you're in tune with yourself. It's like, I didn't need to do a ton of cardio. I just got steps. I barely did cardio. I would get like 15,000 steps a day, just easy walking. Nothing intense, just train super hard, eating plenty of calories. And until that last week, I removed all carbs and fats and was just strictly eating tilapia for 7 days.
Really?
I water loaded for 3 days, restricted the water and cut it out, tightened up, took a diuretic, showed up on stage and was 195 pounds at like 3% body fat.
Jeez.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I think that's
What's
one
that?
thing I can see definitely resonate with like with this coach, because it's like you guys both coach yourself.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
True
There's
that.
a crossover there.
Do you think that eases the mind in other departments to where you might be able to, like, obviously you're going to commit to it, so
Mhm.
more prioritization is there, but at the same time you're not thinking about, I
For
need
sure.
to get a coach, I need to commit
Right.
to something. You've committed to something
And
already.
honestly, the way I thought about it is like, this is the first step. If I pay for this and I don't use it, I at least feel good for investing in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you threw the money away, but you took this step.
Right.
So it's like, I put it out there.
Yeah.
Now it's up to me to follow through with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, even just like, I mean, I've had this questionnaire for the last day.
Mhm.
Haven't filled it out yet.
Right.
Okay. So I'm like, well, I'll just do it this weekend, or because it's hard to find chunks to just like knock shit out.
hmm
But like, if this is going to be a priority, then all right, I have to take photos, and I haven't done photos in so long.
Right. Yeah.
And it's going to be like a little bit vulnerable to do
Yeah.
like a front side back shot and be critiqued by somebody that's at that level.
hmm
Like, bro, we got to grow your back. We got to grow this. We got to grow that. And like, you're lacking size here. And like, I'm excited to see what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something to that. I actually wrote that down. I thought it was just going to be Austin and I, so I was literally, I mean, we can talk
yeah.
about it at a group, but I want to get to it about like tracking, your life essentially
Yeah.
and how that makes a huge difference. But before we do, what are some offs? He hasn't been off, folks. Hold on.
Describe like what an off would be.
Just something where you're like, it's kind of the things where you continue. It's just on your mind. It's like, damn it, I didn't do that again. Like I'm still off in this category.
Probably just getting my sleep on point, because I'm still at this point where I'm like, I have these long days, and then I get home at the end of the night, and I really want to relax, and I want
Yeah.
to unwind and enjoy things. Like, me and Whitney got some gummies, so I've been like
Hell yeah.
indulging
time.
in some cannabis,
Nice.
It's 3 a.m. I should go to bed.
but also like indulging that has brought us closer together because
Mhm.
we're a little bit more loose.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good.
I'm learning to at least shut off the intensity
Mhm.
Yeah.
and like just breathe.
Yeah.
Like I've been living somewhere else constantly. So like these are offs, but they're they've been intentions to become ons.
Yeah.
Becoming present, like be where your feet are. Be right here, be grounded. Like you've been stressed and lost and tired because you're always living in something else.
Yeah.
Like I've been living in the next moment, or I've been living for tomorrow, and I've been living for next month versus just being here, enjoying people's presence and enjoying the moment and just like being okay with that.
Yeah.
Get so hyper focused on like, well, I got to do all this shit. And then it's just like, it just takes over and it ruins your nervous system, stresses, cortisol goes up. So I'm like using things like cannabis help bring me back to this calm place where it's like, it's not that fucking serious.
It's not. Yeah.
Life is not that serious. Just relax, enjoy it, have fun with it.
You think it's more an off from like a disconnect because your behavior was on, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if like the behavior doesn't always match the mental space because you could still be like, I'm struggling to not think about it, but you were present with Whitney, which I think is a win.
Yeah. Oh, that's a total win. Yeah. So it wasn't off and it became an on, I think.
That's good.
After a couple of days. And I think it's,
Oh yeah.
I think
she appreciates that too because like I just bring that tension and stress home.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can actually have fun.
Yeah. After 5 gummies.
How much did you take on it?
I take very minimal amounts. So I use this blend. It has CBG in it. So I don't know if you know what CBG is. So it actually is neuroprotective. So there's CBD and then there's CBG. CBG actually prevents neurotransmitter damage from the cannabis. It actually removes the anxiety from it also. So I only get cannabis
There we go,
that
Matt.
has CBG in it. And like if I don't have a blend that has CBG in it, I'll buy a tincture of CBG and then I'll do like drops of CBG with the cannabis.
Wow.
Do you get pretty anxious off weed?
I'm just an anxious person.
That's fair. Yeah. That's
So I think it amplifies the anxiety
mm-hmm.
or it makes my hyper awareness even more amplified.
Gotcha.
Which has been a good thing at times too, because I really look at myself. I'm like, you're not fucking taking care of business.
Yeah.
So like I will evaluate hardcore and like make myself feel like shit to the point where the next day I'm like back on it.
Right.
Like, okay, then I actually feel really good about it.
Yeah. This is like a good like subtopic of like this shit should be legal everywhere.
Everywhere.
From a federal standpoint.
No, I agree. I've used it on and off since I was probably 20.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where I would use it every night. Then I moved away from it, became completely sober, and saw the energy and the vitality that I had from not having it. Now I see the value in integrating it occasionally.
Yeah.
And like having spurts of it for that perspective shift.
Yeah. And that's like some things like where like, yeah, I used to be like a big pothead, but like I'm nowhere near that anymore. But like doing it in small spurts just to kind of get your mind back. Like, yeah, like for example, like me going through this whole stressful thing, I'm definitely probably going to take a gummy like either tonight or tomorrow or something. I'm going to smoke a huge fucking fat bowl because, dude, I am stressed like a motherfucker.
But you also like the anti-inflammatory benefit of cannabis too is that's what I think it makes my brain feel healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't feel so
Clouded.
Not necessarily clouded, but I mean, I have a history of concussions and like mood disorders too. So I think a lot of that stems from inflammation. When you have inflammation in your brain, you have
a lot
signals.
of stuff
Things
going
aren't
on.
firing properly.
Yeah.
It's like when you remove the inflammation, I think that I get clearer and I have more joy. I think more just internal joy and happiness.
Yeah, you just feel good.
There we go.
That's the simplest way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just feel good.
Yeah.
It ties
Tee.
into that.
It's like,
Okay, but going back to tracking.
Yeah.
So this has been something I've been prioritizing lately, and
Well, we didn't talk about
it.
your on and offs.
No offs. I'm just kidding. On and offs. This week, on wise. So I did create my first reach out list.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. I saw that.
I put it on there, and that was the first step. And the accountability partner, Scott, he kept bugging me the whole week and was like, hey, tomorrow. And I was like, I'll have it. I'm going to have it done. And my goal was 50 reach outs of some sort, whether it's DMs, calls, or emails. And so made the list yesterday, went through and sent out. Basically, it was just something to get my name out here, to give people an opportunity to see what it's like to have a coach. So I made this thing called 3 for Free. And I basically created a Calendly and I put all the time frames that I don't currently have people typically training with me. And I was like, hey, it's one per person. I'm going to put out 3 a week. You can get on there. It's a free one-on-one session. We can talk whatever you want. We can work whatever you want. It's an opportunity for you.
Yeah, and that free, that's
Yeah.
you're gonna get a lot of people, I think, from that.
So I sent it out. We'll see if it hits. And I mean, I'm going to wait because I don't want to just like take all the members. I'm going to give people the opportunity to also.
But also,
reach out.
you're taking initiative. So
Yeah.
if you do, so be it.
Yeah. So I'll just continue. Like, hey, if you want the list, here's the list.
Yeah.
But I'm doing that, and I'm just next. I'm going to create an Instagram list, and after that, it's going to be looking at businesses and whatnot.
Good.
And so that felt good. I don't feel great about it because I want to do it daily or bi-daily or something like that. But it was the step. It was like I got over the hump, and I feel empowered from that. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I can keep going. So I've been doing that. Been training really well, and I haven't really missed.
Yeah, you seem on it. Like you just seem like
Yeah.
this is the most consistent I've seen you probably in over a year.
Yeah, since the last time I was
Spartan
competing. 'Cause
race.
yeah. So I feel like I'm not missing even when obstacles happen. Like the other day with the editor, it was like communication gap there. I'll just go in and edit something real quick, and I'm like, I'm not going to miss. I'm going to post something.
Are you blocking
Yeah.
this out in your calendar? Or are you
No,
just doing it?
I'm still coming to terms with the scheduling. I would say that was a little bit of an off, but I'm making things happen on a daily basis. I feel like the daily, the what's the word? Kind of like everyday drills you did in sports. It's like those. It's like I'm hitting those. I'm starting to reach out to more people. Another thing I did, Chris, you'll like this one, since I think it's your aunt who goes there. It's almost secured. It basically was informally secured today, but I met with one of the managers from River Club
Hell yeah.
to be featured on their app as their
Oh, nice.
personal trainer. So
Nice.
anyone who wants personal training contacts me.
Hell yeah.
So, and I've been like bugging her the shit out of her every week. Like I've just been like, she hasn't emailed me back, whatever. And if she doesn't answer my emails after a couple weeks, I'll call. And so I'm just like getting more aggressive.
I'll even like text Jen's aunt to like be like, hey, like, can you?
She'll be featured soon.
Yeah.
We got to like make some things, some graphics and whatnot. But just like little things like that. I'm just getting more brave
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and aggressive, not in a bad way, but just
Yeah.
like, no, like I'm going to make stuff happen instead of being like, oh, they didn't answer
Well,
my email.
you're making a legitimate push for the things that you want.
Right.
Rather than just be like, I wish I had this, or I would like this at some point. It's like, I want this and I'm going to get
I'm
it.
going to get it.
Yeah.
And so I would say those are ons. So just the training, reaching out, making things happen. And that's been nice. I foresee things happening in the future. They're not happening yet, but I foresee them happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then offs, routine wise, I have been, in a way, same thing. I get home at night and I just want to shut off, but I'm not shutting off in the right way. I'm not like reading or just like sitting. I'm scrolling heavy
Yeah.
scrolling. TikTok has gotten me. Anyways, almost to the point where I'm just like, dude. And then it fucks up my sleep.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten up at the times I wanted to. It's been like 8:30 is my average. And if I get up at 8:30, for example, today, I had stuff to do like right as I got up. And I hate that. It screws up my whole day.
Yeah.
So I still haven't figured out the night routine / morning routine. And that's always been a struggle. And I feel like that's something I have to unlock. I think that's the big one, is getting that down.
I fall in line with that too.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do get the sleep in check, everything else is just so much easier. It's like remembering how vital and important the sleep is. Like you recover, you reset. Like if you're not completely like detoxifying your brain through sleep, you're waking up still living like the previous day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's so
definitely.
important. And when like I know when I'm rested versus when I'm not.
Mhm.
Most days I'd say I'm probably not rested.
Right.
Why do I seek all these other things? But the most important thing, I'm not really integrating completely.
And those extra hours is where you create everything. It's like, hey, if you had 3 hours per day, like, that's 15 hours during the week. It's like you could learn something, which obviously applies to our profession. It's like you could create value. So that's still something I want to work on. It's like, what am I doing on the back end? What's available for the client or the
Right.
business that you want to work with?
Yeah.
And so I would say those are things of anxiety. So I'm happy that I have made the reach outs and overcome these hurdles, but it's those are the small things that have to be done on a daily basis to create this huge product and to create this huge business.
Yeah.
And I just have to be the person that's like, no, I do this on the daily.
Yep.
And I'm slowly working on this big project, kind of like Jonathan's, like 1 month, 6 month, 1, 3, 5
Yeah.
year. It's like you have to have those and be working on those on a daily basis.
Definitely.
So good and bad.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with it. But going back to tracking.
Yes.
So we talked about, and I want to check in on you guys on this too. We've talked about budgets. And I know Austin and I listened to this podcast, the Rob Deerdeck podcast.
Mm.
He's someone, for those of you who don't know who he is, he basically tracks his whole life. I mean, he's known in many spaces, but Ridiculousness, everybody has watched that.
Oh, yeah.
But he tracks his whole life and basically just utilizes everything to optimize it. And I know that you guys probably do this as coaches. I know I do. It's like we always tell the people to track, at least get to that point, start tracking your water, start tracking what you're eating. And that way you're just aware of it. And I'm just curious as to how you guys have been doing that, because I've been doing that more. And I think one of the reasons I've avoided it is because it's almost like ignorance is a little bit of bliss.
It is.
Because you don't want to call yourself out on the things you suck at.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that I've sucked at a lot of things lately. So
But also when you do track, the ability to autocorrect, and if you're feeling lethargic and you're tired every day and you're not tracking, it's just like it's a crapshoot. I don't know what the issue is. There's probably a million things that are causing these problems. But if you track all of those things, the water, the food, the sleep, you know exactly what's going on and where you're falling off track.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I need to start doing that, and it's going to be something I'm going to be starting this week, like tracking protein, tracking calories, getting adequate sleep every night, making sure I'm hydrated, utilizing salt, and like making sure I'm actually using the water that I'm taking in.
Yeah. I think you're going to be surprised. Do you think?
Every time I do it, I feel so much better. Mm-hmm. But like you said, ignorance is bliss. And like, I've been doing this for so long. Sometimes it's just like a burden. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm tired of fucking tracking. Right. I'm tired of it. Well, I know it helps, but.
Because I've done the intuitive thing a lot too. And I know we're applying this to nutrition, but it applies to everything. Yeah. Especially like budgets and whatnot. And I've started tracking because I've been, I tell my clients all the time, track. And I'm like, dude, I don't even track. So I need to do that on a regular basis.
It helps you communicate it better too.
Exactly. Really, and so I've been doing it, and I'm shocked because I always have protein at every meal. I actually probably prioritize protein at every meal. I eat, for lack of a better term, clean a lot of the time, or at least I have been in the last 6 months. But I get to the end of the day and I'm like, dude, like I have not hit any number. Like I have to eat a lot.
Short.
Yeah. Yep. It's like when you realize like how much food you have to intake on a daily basis, it's a lot. Like even just like the last 3 to 4 weeks, it's been hard for me to even hit like 200 grams of protein.
Same.
It's so hard. And it's like trying to tell someone who's just getting started in the fitness space or like just starting their fitness journey and saying like, hey, you need to get 140 grams of protein. They're like, I'm barely getting 50. Like, how do I do that?
Right.
And I'm just like, it's easy. Just do it. But it's like, no, it's not. Like, if it's like, for me, like been doing this for, how old am I? 27. For doing this for 14 years and I still can't, it's hard for me now to hit 200 grams versus like when I was bodybuilding, I would hit 320 like easy.
Well, it comes down to the priority and the why again.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we doing it? Why do I need to do it?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
How's the budget's been going for you guys? We've talked about that a few months ago.
Better,
worse?
Yeah, I'd say better. Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in the last couple months.
Obviously, you're not really thinking budget right now.
Yeah. I think actually, technically, I am thinking more budget just because like I haven't worked in the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously for what I said earlier, but that's keeping me more in like, okay, like I have X amount I can use for groceries, but I purchased a lot of groceries for the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So we're good for that. And then just kind of just slowly like, okay, like I can divvy out here, like try not to go just randomly get sushi or get Dave's hot chicken or these other random foods. Cause then that just adds up.
Yeah.
Like I told Jen, like before I got here, like, hey, do you want me to go to the store to get something for us to eat real quick? And she's like, no, we have food at home. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So like she keeps us on track too when it comes to budgeting.
Committing to that, like that, because that's what adds up is the food outside of the home.
Oh yeah.
Convenience store, coffee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like because I have the money doesn't mean I need to get it.
Yeah.
Like I can get it, don't need to get it.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to that too. I think growing up, always living paycheck to paycheck and like always having to be, what was it, frugal?
Yeah.
Mhm.
like very limited with my budget. It's like now that I have income, it's like I don't have to worry anymore.
Mhm.
So it's more of an opportunity to just be like, I don't care. I'm just gonna get it. Like I don't have to worry about it or stress about it. But to establish like this long-term income and to have the ability to invest, like this money adds up.
Yeah.
Like I spend so much money on food, it's ridiculous
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Same.
feel that.
to an embarrassing level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where like
Yeah.
coming from the budgeting standpoint, like for say like if I order Sarah's Bagels, that's $21 every time.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, it's only $20, but then
Right
20
now.
bucks, then 20 bucks,
Yeah.
then 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Like I'll like when we went to Lollapalooza in Chicago, I was like, oh, this is 20 bucks, just 20 bucks.
Mhm.
Dude, I spent almost $1,000 in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, oh, like it's only 15,
Right.
it's only 20. Uber's only $12. That's nothing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But then when I added up each day, I'm like, damn, I'm spending a
A
lot,
lot of money
each day.
for just a few days.
Yeah.
I spent $250 on dinner in Tamarack.
Yeah, I was gonna. That did look good.
Yeah.
though.
That did look bomb though.
It was bomb.
I mean,
but
that's a date night. That's different. That's different.
I was gonna say. I think
it is
there's.
different.
I think you have to plan
That,
for
that
those
has to be a
things.
priority too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be able to reward yourself. But I will say, just I've started looking at. Do you guys have like a number, like a livable number, like almost like a survival number each month? Have you guys determined that?
Yeah.
No,
I like this is the number I need.
I just know I have money in my bank account, so I have.
That's
the
fair.
ability to
Hey,
spend
that's fair.
money.
No, that's
Yeah.
fair.
But
Yeah.
so we were talking about this in the inner circle the other day. It was pretty cool. It was like finances 101. And it was figure out your survival number, which this is like pretty broad advice, but then you try to get like 6 months of surviving. That way
Mhm.
you can take calculated risks and not feel so bad about it because you have money in the bank if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
But it was like the thing that I heard on that call that was really eye-opening was how easy it is to become a millionaire. So, and obviously this is in terms of like the regular investing, you know, you
Mhm.
have a 401k that you're maxing out, you're investing in like a Roth IRA, and obviously, you know, like investments like the S&P 500, those things that are going to grow. But it was like he calculated it out, and I'm gonna have to find him because I think he's gonna send me him. But if not, I think I find it on the internet. It was like I just remember 20 years because that one stuck out to me because I was like, okay, 20. I'm 29 by the time I'm 50, and I was like, in order to become a millionaire in 20 years with regular investments, you had to save $1,000 a month, and I was like, that's nothing.
No, it's not.
No.
And basically, his whole thing, Chase Hodgson was the one reading the call and or leading the call. And he basically was like, it's these small things. You just have to be disciplined to do them. And I was like, dude, like that's
Yeah.
so.
Definitely.
It was eye opening. And he was talking about how him and his wife, they monthly sit down and basically create their monthly budget. And he said his wife's like, hey, like you're doing this, going to convenience stores, like she is on him.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like I didn't even think about sitting down monthly. I have one, and I'm like, dude, I need to change it on a monthly basis.
I think that's important to establish with your partner too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, you guys got to be on the same page. And me and Whitney have finally had like discussions about it. And I feel like I've always kind of been in my own space with that. And she's actually the one that brought it up to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know you stress about money and like bills and stuff. So she's like, I want to know where you're at. I want to know how I can step up and how I can help out.
Yeah.
And like, my grandpa ran his own business. My grandma did all the finances and accounting. It's like, how can we work as a team together to make
Yeah.
this the most efficient thing? It's like, if you can help me with maybe budgeting some things, then I can take precedent in other ways, and
Yeah.
then we can kind of collaborate and work together in that way.
I think that's like a good like subtopic of this where not telling people to force themselves into a relationship because that could go bad. But like when you're in a relationship with someone as good where the communication can be talked about finances and you're not scared to talk about finances, like, hey, let's talk about this and see how we can develop and grow together.
Right?
And then where we can save, where we can potentially invest into one thing versus another.
Yeah.
It's like like Jen and I talk about that a
All the
lot.
time. That's
all
good.
the time. So it's like when we first moved here, she was like, hey, I know you're struggling. Like I can help out with some of the bills for now. And then even now, like I'm versus like it's kind of vice versa where I'm like, hey, like
I
let
can
me
take some
know
of the
what
load
you
here.
need
Yeah.
so I can provide too.
Mhm.
And I think that's like good thing about being in a relationship as open as this, because it's supposed to be 50-50. It's not 75%, 25, or
No.
100 or 0. It's like it should be 50-50.
Right. I can see where you're falling short and lift you up. You can see where I'm falling short and lift me up. That's how it should mesh.
100%. Yeah.
What are other things you guys think should be tracked? It doesn't have to be on a spreadsheet. Like, that's not what I'm getting at. We don't all have to be Rob Deerdeck, but or that maybe it would apply to your life. It doesn't have to be this broad category. Maybe something that you're like, maybe I should look at that a little more. Stumped them.
Stumped. Let's start with you. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do I think?
Asking the question in the questionnaire.
There you go. No, I think I'm gonna training for sure. I definitely have the mindset that I think there's something to intuitive training. I would say health and wellness.
Yeah.
Not the nutrition side, but movement. I think that, yes, sometimes you need to just go on your own and do what you want to do, especially on days where you're not very motivated. It's good to get something in, but I think you have to be shooting for something. So being on a plan of some sort to get you to that place is going to be the most optimal way to get there.
Yeah.
Instead of just mindlessly, moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, something that I want to start including is like client, what would the word even be? Satisfaction with
Like a survey.
Oh, like evaluations.
Yeah, client evaluations. I would mind maybe tracking that every month or every few months. Like, how are you feeling about your program? How are you feeling about your attention? How are you feeling about this, and this?
Kind of like getting feedback from them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only going to, like that, again, constructive criticism helps you become a better trainer and just better at what you do. So I think I need more feedback from the people I'm working with day in and day out.
Yeah. I'd say I'm the same way with that too, because it's like I am very curious of like. Thankfully, like my clients the last couple of days are very understanding, but like I still feel like, damn, I need to talk to them a significant amount more. But that's where I think that having that questionnaire, that survey or evaluation, however you may want to word it, would be very beneficial, because it's like I want to know what my clients think of me.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, they think I'm cool, like to me face to face, but they could also tell them like, I don't know, I'm kind of scared to talk to them about this or whatever. It's like, I want to be better as a coach. So tell me how I should be better for you.
Yeah. Where am I falling short? Because I think even as a coach, like there's times where I feel like I'm really on my shit, like on my game, taking care of everybody. And there's times I feel like I'm just like in the opposite direction. It's like, I always find my way back and like make sure I take care of those people. Because
100%.
You know when you're veering off and you're not like as focused on your people. So it's like getting back to that base and then just making sure everybody's continually satisfied. And client retention is the biggest sign of like, how you're doing with people.
I think off time would be another one to track too.
Yeah.
When you're actually when you have things in your schedule that you follow through with, and be like, hey, like Friday night from 5 to whatever, I don't do anything.
Yeah, I like
Every
that too.
week.
Committing, that's why committing to like weekends off always. Just like maybe once in a while I'll do a Saturday.
Yeah. What are you guys? I'm curious. What do your guys' boundaries look like currently, as it applies to work? Do you guys have any?
Yeah, I don't want to be training. Like my schedule is 6 a.m. to like 2 p.m. for training. I don't want anything after that. I'll get a couple once in a while. So it's like this guy that comes once every 2 weeks at like 2:30. Or like once in a while, somebody will pop in at like a 4:30, and I'll occasionally take those, but I'm not taking those consistently.
Yeah. I'd say like starting out, I was very like, okay, let me just take on whoever. Kind of like how I said in an earlier podcast. But now I'm definitely like, okay, I want to do 3 to 4 at a time, like an hour break, and then a 3 to 4 again, because it's like it's hitting me now where I'm not young anymore. Well, still young, but not in my early 20s.
He's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. I'm not like willing to take on 8 in a row. And I'm like, that's exhausting. Especially now, like thinking of other things in my personal life, like that I have to attend to. So I want to make as much of an impact I can with my clients without having my personal life affect them so much.
Makes sense. I've been doing Mondays has been mine so far, so I don't take on anything Monday at the moment. Weekends I open up during sports seasons just because
Yeah.
it's so hard to get kids in.
Right.
And I get it. Like, no kid wants to train after they've gone to football practice or volleyball or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I do open up weekends. That's tough. But having Monday off and just knowing I have a full day has been pretty nice.
I think Monday's a good day to have off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I think it's like such an overrated thing of like, oh, I'm so like the Gary V mindset of like, I need to look forward to Mondays. Like, if you don't look forward to
Well, I
Mondays.
do look forward to it.
Well, me too. But like, not to the point where I'm like, I'm ready to fucking work. Like how Gary Vee is like cracked out. Like when I see that, I'm like, yeah, like I look forward to Mondays because I want to work too, but I'm not going to freaking praise like, I'm going to wake up at like 2 a.m.
No. And a lot of the times I feel like I'd be much better off working 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saturday, Sunday, Monday off.
Yeah.
I want to get to a point where I'm doing that. And then I have 4 days of like, I'm hitting it.
Like 4 10s.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I'd be happy doing those, like really committing to 4 days. Cause I think Sunday I'm like, okay, I finally feel like I'm starting to relax. And then I feel like I just need one more day.
One more day
Just
to
give me one more.
Yeah.
To like,
almost plan and
or
schedule.
I want that one more day to be my organization day.
Yeah.
Like get structured, get everything on point, clean the house, clean my car.
Yep.
Like Sunday should be my relax day. Monday should be my get shit together day. And then
Yeah.
I'm ready for the week.
And this is like an popular opinion where a lot of European countries do it, where they do work only 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think they're slowly starting to implement that here in the US, where I think that's very important because Jen, for example, she back in Cali, she only worked 3 days and lived the best fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
Versus here, she's working an extra day, and it's like taking a toll on her.
And I think you're way better when you show up those 4 days too.
Yeah, because you're
just
refreshed.
you're-
Because like here, we're always talking about like blue collar, where like you have to work. It's like we're all three of us are workaholics, but at the same time, we definitely love our leisure time
Mm-hmm.
and like way to shut off and how we can divvy out our mindset towards other things in life that we can benefit into.
I think one thing that I do and I'm starting to implement more, and the reason I have Mondays is it's almost like an active rest because I don't like I like leisure time. I don't like a ton of it if I'm being honest. I like to be doing something, but I like to create. That is one of the things that is my core values. It's being creative, and I've done that through music. I'm doing that with like the content right now. Like I have to be able to create. And so if I have time with nothing on the back end, there's no one to train at 5 o'clock. There's just nothing in front of me. There's no date night, nothing like that. It's like my mind's just freer to just create and think. And I think that because it would be nice to, work 4 days a week, but I think that that's more like the hands-on, the things that are exhausting the clients,
Mm-hmm.
And not that that's a bad thing, but being with someone an hour and talking and coaching is like, whew.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's like limiting that, but then giving myself 2-3 days to create and work on those things that are so important, the little things that get left behind in those times of exhaustion.
100%.
Change your idea of rest.
Yeah.
I think that's something I try to do.
Is there something that reinforces that you're doing the right thing? Like, do you pick up on something? Is there like a cue, like after a certain period of time that you're now aware that this is something that you should have implemented a long time ago? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It reminds
and
me
then
of
and then is there like a profound moment, like, and then it just becomes a lifelong habit?
It's almost like, for me, I get peace from it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think one of the big ones that I do very regularly now is I don't drink very often. We've had our whiskey here,
Right.
and occasionally I'll go out, mostly if it's with the right people, and I'll have a drink or two. But when I finally cut that out, I got more and more at peace the more I said no to things, whether it was going out to a bar at night on a Friday. I'm like, no, I need to get to something on Saturday, or even in training. Like the other day, I had a function I was at, and I left early to go get my run in. And it was like no one was ready to leave, or maybe they were and they just were staying. But it was like those things where it's eating at you. And when I finally do it, it's like, yes, you get a little bit of FOMO, but you have more peace than FOMO.
Yeah. I think I'm the same way. Like I wish I implemented more of not partying so much in my younger years, because the amount of money I spent is insane.
Those late night Little
Dude.
Caesar runs, bro.
Like,
T-Bell.
My body took a hit.
Going out in Cali, specifically SF or San Jose, is so expensive. especially you're fucked up,
Mhm.
and then you're like, oh, I'm buying shots for everybody.
Dude,
And
I
it's
never
like,
did that. I never
oh,
did that.
I did it twice, and I regretted
No, that
it.
was never me.
Yeah,
What was
I
the bill?
regretted it. One time in SF, which is, I don't know if anybody who's gonna listen to this, it's in Chestnut Street of SF. It's in the Marina District. That just sounds very bougie.
We had Chestnut and Chico. I remember that.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a street. Yeah.
So in SF, it's the Marina District, and say if you get a shot of Patron, or let's say if you get a shot of Casa Azul, it's like $21 a shot, and I bought that for 13 people.
Jesus.
So let me do the math on that.
5 times.
I've done that twice.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Before tax, that's $273 and tip.
So you figure a $50 tip on top of it.
I'm good.
hopefully.
Let's all drink, but you guys got your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
For us, like I'd be happy to buy you guys drinks. But
Oh,
just
yeah.
for
That's
randos,
fine, yeah.
like hell no.
Oh no, it was like we would go like deep with a group.
Yeah.
So it was like, because it was the nutrition shop I worked at. So there was 7 of us just from there,
Oh.
and then our significant others at the time. So it was like 13 to 14.
Was there a flex to that? Like, were you feeling like,
Oh, yeah, it was definitely a flex.
I got money.
Yeah, because what was stupid is
Yeah.
like I never saved that under the table money I got from that nutrition shop, and I was working 35 hours a week there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was making $18 an hour under the table.
just straight.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, thinking to it now. So ask the question one more time.
Oh, so like, what reinforces that you're doing the right thing or you're on the right path?
Yeah.
You know what it is right now that I wish I would have caught on to earlier in life is, and this is almost a paradox, but I feel disconnected from, how do I even put it? Traditionally minded people.
Yeah.
I even have friends that I'll be around, and it's cool to be surface level with them, but I can't talk to them for very long because
Yeah.
the topics, they don't interest me. I want to know. It's like, and it's nice being around entrepreneurs and business owners because you want to know the next, like, hey, how are you getting better? Like,
Yeah.
how are you growing? Being around you
definitely.
guys, it's like, how are you training? How are you, refining your finances? It's the people that want to get better. And so honestly, when I don't want to talk to someone, this sounds terrible, but I do feel like I'm on the right path because I'm
Yeah.
like trying to create a new community of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, like, I don't hate you. I still love you, but
Right.
we're going in 2 different directions.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, I just posted something about that with Kobe the other day. He was talking about that. He was like if you're not somebody that's constantly striving to be better,
Yeah.
you're not in my life. It's like I just
Yeah,
don't
straight up.
associate with you. Like I wish you the best, but I want to be around people that are pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They take life by the
100%.
I don't know, they take advantage of their life. They take ownership of their life. They're not sitting back as a victim and waiting for things to just fall into their
Yeah.
lap. It's like you got to take the reins. You got to push for it.
Yeah. And that's where, like, kind of going off like the traditional thing, it was hard for me to connect. Like, I obviously have a great relationship with my family, but it was hard for me to connect with them on a professional level, I guess. I mean, it's hard to be a professional with my family, but with them saying, like, I'm sure all 3 of us, you have to get a job, you have to go to college,
Yeah.
you got to get a 401k. Like, even sometimes my mom still texts me, hey, did you pay your health insurance? And I'm just like, yes, I'm paying my health insurance.
I know my mom chimes in there too.
Yeah, but it's like also,
I know you like to procrastinate. Yes, mom, I'll pay it.
but when
I'm
they're
30 years old.
But then my mom's always like, you could get a job since you have your master's. You can get a job at a hospital and you get benefits and stuff. It's like, yeah, I get that, but I don't want to work in a hospital. So it's like, I don't want to be stagnant doing the same thing for years and years and years.
I think it's that era.
Yeah.
Like that's all of our parents kind of just like promoted that, but they didn't know any different. Or they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
We have so much access with media these days. Like, that
Oh,
you have the
it's
opportunity to
crazy.
do way more for yourself.
But there's still people in that, and there's nothing wrong with being traditionally minded, but it's
if
just
you're
like,
happy in that.
exactly. And that's the thing. It's just like, whether it's a family member or a friend, it's like, I'm sorry, my idea of a nice weekend isn't just chilling out with 30 Coors Lights. It's like,
No.
there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a dead end,
Have the
though.
house, have
Yeah,
the
it's
kids.
just-
Yeah.
And that's okay though,
If
but
you're
it's just,
happy with
but
that,
it's
yeah.
not. Yeah.
But then those are the same people that blame the world for their issues.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
sitting there drinking and like shooting shit, and they're just talking shit about the world.
Mhm.
Like, like those are the people that feed into politics. Those
Yeah.
are the people that feed into the stuff that's out of their control.
Right.
It's like, that's not my tribe.
No.
Yeah. What about you? What's something you've kind of
if I feel better after doing it, it's the reinforcement. Like that this
Mhm.
is something that I need to integrate and do it consistently.
Yeah.
It's like educating myself, learning something, applying it.
Mhm.
If I feel the value from it, okay, I need to keep pushing that and doing it more.
Yeah.
Just and like you said, there's a piece involved.
Right.
It's like I feel accomplished that I did something that maybe challenged me and has made me better, at least in this short time frame.
It's almost like you get I've always tried to put this into words and I suck at it, but I'll try it again. If you have like say you cheat on your diet and you get like this huge dopamine spike from
Mhm.
having Ben and Jerry's ice cream or something, you get like this huge spike and then you get this
Drop.
obviously huge low, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're just depressed. You're like, this fucking suck, dude.
Yeah.
But if you do the peace thing, you never really get the dopamine spike. It's just like this flat line the whole time,
Right.
but it never wavers.
Mhm.
And I feel like that if my life is like that, I'm like, dude, I'm on right now.
Right.
Whether I'm on nutritionally, I'm craving. The chicken tastes okay. It tastes good because I'm hungry, but I'm not going to get the dopamine spike, but I'm also not going to get the low.
No.
The fewer lows I get, I feel like, okay, this is a good thing.
Well, you start to chase like the feeling of your body and like
Mhm.
you chase the hard things and like the challenges and like the pursuit of doing hard things. You just feel like a different human.
Right.
You feel like there's like a stoicism aspect to it.
Right.
Nothing's good or bad. It just is. And I move through life like it just is. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have specific goals and desires and I'm doing everything to get to that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like no shame in going off track and cheating, but I have specific desires and this is serving me. I feel better than ever because I am
Mhm.
following my diet.
Right.
Because even that's like for me sometimes where I'm like, when I went back to Cali last weekend, and I was like, hey, do you want to go here, go here? I'm like, nah, I don't want to go to that place. Nah, I don't really care
Mhm.
for that. Just because it's like, I don't want, like, I kind of like how you said last podcast, I know what makes me feel good and I know what makes me feel like shit.
Mhm.
So why am I going to try to make myself feel like shit? Like, yeah, it's a good satisfaction for maybe 5-10 minutes. But dude, after I had In-N-Out, I felt so bloated. I felt disgusting. I mean, I also like had a lot of it, but
Yeah.
still though.
Well, how like the social aspect. And I think we can connect with people without needing to do the drinking or
Mhm.
do the
Yeah.
indulgence of the food. Like I don't need all that stuff to connect with you as a person.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it's like we talk about all the time. It's such a societal norm now
It is.
to like, oh, like let's get drinks. Like, oh, let's get whatever food. It's like,
And again, I
yeah,
do enjoy that
Yeah.
in pockets.
Yeah. I don't like doing it consistently
Right.
on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And I think, it's almost like you should reward yourself every now and then
Oh yeah.
in doing that, but not going overboard.
No.
I think
Enjoy
that's the
it,
hard part
socialize.
too. Yeah.
There's a purpose. Just
Have
like
a
anything
drink
else.
or
Yeah.
two and then back on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Like
consistent
if we were to
factors.
go and drink tomorrow, the purpose is to like just let loose. We've had good like tough weeks. Like
Mhm.
let's relax and socialize and connect a little bit, and then get back on the horse.
Yeah, exactly. Like the next day, you don't need to be
Yep.
fucked up and hungover, and then
No, and if you are, you're still getting
You
up
still
early
get-
and
yeah.
you're still attacking the day.
that's such a hard mindset to get in. Is it's like you mess up during the day and you just want to
Set
give
it.
it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've already gone this far.
Ah,
It's
fuck
so
it.
hard to be like, no, like
It's a wash.
you've I
Yeah.
did it. Stay on with whatever it is.
Yeah.
I would say like the fewer of those that I get, it's like that's heading in the right direction. Even
Yeah.
like the ons and offs.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I did procrastinate this week. I didn't get up when I was supposed to, but I still was like, nope.
Yep.
I'm gonna make
I
sure
got
I do
4
a
hours of sleep, but
Yeah.
I have a day ahead of me that I need to take care of, and I will catch up on sleep tonight and make that a priority.
Mhm.
It's like it is what it is, but I'm not going to waste my day because I went out and I had some drinks last night
Yeah. No.
Chris Williamson and Hormozy did you finish that podcast?
with Chris Williamson.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a gem.
So good. Chris, you gotta listen to it.
I'll listen to it.
But they said the first step in knowing you're heading in the right direction is doing what everybody else isn't.
Yeah,
And I was like, man, like,
yeah.
I mean, it's
So-
kind of what we're talking
yeah.
about.
And I think that's the thing though too is like with that specific statement is trying to figure out what people aren't doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like-
in my mind,
And I guess it depends on like what it is exactly. Because it's like such a broad
yeah.
term.
Mhm.
So like what exactly are we like, I guess from a business standpoint or a financial standpoint, like what exactly are people like not doing? Because there could be so many, there's 8 billion people in this world. Like what exactly?
maybe that's something because I've had this thought and thought about writing it down. I haven't. So
Yeah.
maybe that's something for me personally I would want to track. So I
Yeah.
had this thought the other day. I was driving. I was on my phone, right? Like a lot of us are.
Yeah.
And in my mind, and I have this periodically, it's like, how do you be different?
Mhm.
I don't drive while texting or texting while driving.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's just like a little thing, but it's like, as a habit, right? It's
Mhm.
just a habit to pull out my phone. If someone texts, I got to get to this now. No, it can wait.
Yep.
Or I wake up late. It's like, I would say a good amount of people wake up late.
Yeah.
You know, we just live
Definitely.
in that, especially
Yeah.
in the US.
Well,
So
I
how do you
think
be different?
I think
Like
all
a little
these. I
earlier.
think this the separation, the difference is how you unintentionally become a leader to
Mhm.
people. Because you just stand out. Like,
Yeah.
man, that guy's different.
Mhm.
There's something
Yeah.
about him. He's doing things in a different way, and I want to know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
It's like he's doing really well for himself. He seems happy. He seems motivated. He seems driven.
Mhm.
Has good relationships. What is he doing different? Then you get clients because without even thinking about it, because you're just living the life that you want.
Yes.
And you're becoming better every single day.
Definitely. It's like David Goggins is obviously a full on extreme, but yeah.
Dude, I've been reading his book Unstoppable. It's really good because Can't Hurt Me, Dorit Can't Hurt Me.
That can't hurt me. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of his.
Like his sequel.
It's a sequel and like kind of not kind of. He's reflecting on a lot of that stuff. How he used to, he was like this savage and just had this mindset to get through these,
Mhm.
the Navy SEAL training and whatnot, and how he basically just fed on hate and whatnot. And he doesn't necessarily take that away, but he kind of goes in a different direction and defeats some of his demons. But then he realizes after he defeats his demons, like, I don't have the fuel that I used to have. So I have to kind of configure another fuel.
Yeah.
And at the point I'm at, I still have like half the book to go, but he has to figure out another fuel. And he also has to channel some demons too.
Mhm.
So he is kind of both sides. Like, hey, you need to get rid of this stuff.
Even he's got to find balance.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
find that balance. But you also have to have that competitive edge, like the chip on your shoulder. It's good. It's really good.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'll definitely give that a read.
For sure. Where do you guys here's a question I had written down. How do you where's it at? How do you deal with failure?
Depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I guess it depends on, like how you're saying, the situation and what exactly it is. Like if let's say from a business standpoint, if I have a bad month, like for example, like this month so far definitely is not my best month, but I'm just taking it as it is because I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to see like, how can I improve
Mhm.
what I didn't do this month that I used to do a couple months back? So that's like what I'm constantly like thinking about. So like this month, for example, I definitely haven't been posting a lot just because vacations the entire month have been exhausting. And then now with our dog getting parvo, that doesn't help. So what I learned from like a couple months back, we're just posting a lot more about my clients, like how I can just create value, like how you were saying. That's definitely some things that I am going to improve on for sure.
I think failure has emotion attached to it.
Yeah.
There's pain and anxiety associated with failure because they should set in and they should stick with you. And you should get a sensation of like not shame, but like you should be overcome with emotions that make you sit in it.
Yeah.
Because when you feel uncomfortable, that provokes the change. I think when I have had failures in the past, and I've had some failures, some like legit failures, every time that I had those, I became a much more confident, stronger, better person. They all made me just light years better. And like if without those failures, I would not be here. I would not be doing what I'm doing by any means. It's like failure should be something that we seek almost. Like you should almost seek the uncomfortable situations, knowing that failure is going to happen, and then knowing that you're going to be better for it every time.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity, at least.
Has that changed for you guys? Or is that how you've always looked at it?
It has definitely changed because I would avoid those failures, and I would blame or like deflect, like, oh, it wasn't because of me.
Right.
Or like there was other things at fault, or like putting the weight on the situation and less on myself. Now I put the weight on my shoulders. It's
Yeah.
like this is in my control.
Right.
My life is in my control. Everything that I go through is in my control. Take ownership, and then you don't hold this burden anymore. It's like I'm in control of my life, and I will be better next time.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the same position or like in mindset of that, where if there's something in my control, like I just need to do better about that versus something that's out of my control. That's obviously out of my control. I can't
Right.
really do much about that.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Because I'm a very like just figure it out kind of
Mhm.
person. Like it is what it is. I'm very accepting of faults in every facet of
Mhm.
my life. And then how I can just be like, okay, like I'm just gonna figure it out. Like there's no point, at least for me, to put so much weight on myself for something that was like in my control. Like, yeah, I fucked up. How can I do better?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think there's a difference. Like that is kind of like the stoic way of handling things. It's like
Yeah.
good or bad, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Like this is the situation.
Yeah.
This is what happened. Use that as information, and then
Mhm.
be
Like
better for it.
Like obviously some things would cause more stress than
Right.
others, of course. Like definitely from like finance / budgeting side.
Mhm.
Obviously that's a stress, but it's just how I can just improve my budgeting now.
Right.
And how can I do better by getting more, or making more money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. What about you, Matt?
I think the way I used to deal with it, I quit a lot of things. I've quit a lot of things
Mhm.
when shit would hit the fan and get tough. And I think I use that to my advantage now. Because football, quit. Thought I was making the right decision. Maybe I did. Regretted it later. Then it was like, oh, CrossFit was getting big. And I was like, I'm gonna go to the CrossFit games. Oh, because I've always been an all or nothing person.
Same.
I didn't know how to get into it. I didn't really have a ton of money, so I didn't go to a CrossFit gym. I just made shit up on my own and quit that, obviously. Then it was like, got into bodybuilding. And then when prep got hard, quit that.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was making steps. I was getting my degrees. I eventually got a master's degree. It wasn't like I was just this mess
Fuck up.
completely.
Yeah.
But I always had big aspirations,
Yeah.
and it was like, quit.
Mhm.
I think just because you saw the potential for yourself, and when
Mhm.
you weren't like meeting it right
Exa-
away, it's
exactly.
like, ugh, fuck it, let's just try something different.
Right.
Yeah.
And that became my story that I told myself, and even still. And I think that that's helping me now because I am way more. I'm like, whatever I want to do, it's like I want to develop the skill. I want to suck at it
And
really
see it
bad,
through.
and just tell
Yeah.
me why. Like critique me.
Right.
Obviously, we've had that conversation with the right people. I still have to work on that,
Right.
but I want to just hone it. And it's like you're gonna have to do it 1,000 times, maybe 10,000
Yeah.
times. It's like I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I want to start. So I think I'm getting better at that. And then any time that I think about quitting or it gets hard, because I have had the same conversation with myself. It's like you have a master's degree. I could get a job. I
Yeah.
could have a 401k.
So-
I could even be well off, so to
Yeah.
speak. I just look at the past and how I hated myself for quitting and been like, dude, you realize what you could have gotten a scholarship for football.
Yeah.
I believe that. I think if I put my mind to anything, I could have done it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, use that as fuel
Yeah.
now.
No
'Cause
longer,
I believe I can do it.
no
Oh,
longer
yeah.
defining yourself as this like limited person.
Mm.
Like you could anything that you pursue, you can totally do really well at. Just gotta
Definitely.
follow it through.
And extending that timeline has helped me so much. Like thinking in terms of like when I'm 40, I'm
Mhm.
like, I got time. I just
Oh,
got to
so
keep
much time.
chipping at
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about what is enough? Because we talk about, I think this applies to our podcast, Moderately Successful. You don't have to be a 1%er. You don't have to be a billionaire. You can if you
Yeah.
want. But there's this story. Have you guys read the book, The Psychology of Money?
Mm-mm.
So anyways, there's a story in there where there's these two guys at this billionaire's party on some island. And one of the friends, I forget his name. I could look it up, but I'll just try as best I can. But he goes to his buddy and he's like, dude, the guy that runs this party, how does it feel that, and the guy that he's talking to is like a really well-known writer. He's like, how does it feel that yesterday he made more money than you did in all the years that your book's been out, you made? And the guy who wrote the book, the author is like, yeah, but I have something that he doesn't have. And the guy's like, what's that? And he's like, the knowledge that I have enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro,
Yeah.
facts.
And I think that's the most important thing is just being happy wherever you are,
Mhm.
no matter what. It's like I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy where I'm at right now. Doesn't mean I don't want more.
Right.
It's like
Right.
that's the determining factor to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Do you guys think you'll have that? So I actually have a little bit of different of a mindset. I mean, I think I'm similar mindset. I'm content but not satisfied,
Yeah.
but it's not enough yet
No,
at the same time. So I don't think I have enough right now.
no.
But do you have in your mind, have you guys thought about, when you hit that, you're going to be okay with it? Or is it just going to be in the present every time?
I don't think you ever do.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever technically like an enough thing because it's like, especially like within like an entrepreneurial mindset, there's no such thing I feel like as enough because it's like we're constantly always wanting to be better for ourselves, like tracking and auditing like what we do on a daily basis and financially is like, okay, like I hit this number, how can I make more?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, I hit this number, how can I make more? So it's like,
You think you'll always be doing that?
at least for me, I'd say so. Yeah, just because especially like with the new business that I'm thinking about, like I think that's, at least to me, I think it's going to really take off.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I improve that? And then on to the next one. And then building up even more from there.
I think you reach the pinnacle, and then that is your opportunity to educate and invest in other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I see a pinnacle for myself at some point. I acquire all the knowledge, like time, education. Like I put the hours in. Okay, now it's time to help people do the same. I think that's going to be the transition. So it's not. There will be an enough point for my own personal success, and then it'll be about investing in other people.
That's fair.
And I think too, one thing that a lot of people don't, I guess, focus on is when they say like, oh, when I get to this specific job, relationship, or whatever, like they think they're going to be happy, but in the present, they're not. It's like, are you actually going to be happy when you reach that specific goal? Because if you're not happy with yourself, because I've watched this one post from my old coach who posted this, and I'm going to regurgitate it. But basically, he said that if you're not happy within your moment self now, or like in your present self now, there's no way you're going to be happy when you reach that end goal. Because it's, I think that's the thing too, where it's like not necessarily like enough. It's like, I'm just going to be happy in the present moment, making this happen. And then when I reach that goal, I'll be like, fuck yeah, I hit that.
Yeah, if you don't have like the self-love or like self-care, you getting that thing is not going to change that for you.
No, yeah.
You got to feel complete and whole in where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that there's something to, maybe it's never enough because you're always going to go through these evolutions of refinement for yourself.
Yeah.
Whether that's personally, professionally, relationally, whatever it might be. I do think where I would hope to get in terms of this is enough is the hours I invest into something. So say I work, I don't know what I work right now, but
more
it's like,
time.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm putting 60 hours a week, or maybe it's more for some people, into this quote unquote dream. And I would hope that for the sake of relational, and all the other goals, that I hit a point, it's like you get, 20 hours per week to continue evolving, and then you need to channel that elsewhere. Kind of like what you're saying, give to other people, invest in your family. You're still evolving, and it's never enough on all those sectors. But as far as you are, hey, I hit my number financially, we're good to go.
Yeah.
It's time to chill out from a chasing standpoint.
Right. I agree. Like once the financial comfort is there, and like there's doesn't matter what you do at that point, it's always going to be comfortable. Then it's like I'm solely focused on my own personal enjoyment and relationships with people.
Yeah.
Love, like making sure all of my relationships are thriving.
Yep.
I love it.
What would I know, Chris, you don't read a whole lot, but there's books that you've read, or like maybe podcasts you listen to, or things that stand out, maybe even movies. But what would you say is the most influential book or piece of education or entertainment that you've taken away?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Have you ever read the book Unfuck Yourself? So I forgot the name of the author just because I read it back in 2019. It was basically how you can just basically not unfuck yourself, but it's like the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Mark Manson.
Oh, yeah. I have that book.
There are two. That's another book.
So I didn't read Unfuck Yourself. I read the other one. And I think that really set the tone for me because I used to give a shit about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Versus I think that book kind of helped me out. I don't really remember the principles of it, but I just remember it made such an impact with me where I legit made Instagram captions from that fucking book because it just impacted me so much. And for me now, like I have such a carefree mindset probably because of that book. So I'd say that one made like the most impact for me.
And he gave prime examples in that book too, of like real people that had these issues, and like talked about one of these bandmates that was initially in Metallica or something.
Oh yeah, and he
Ended
oh
up
my
being
gosh,
with Megadeth or
Megadeth. Yeah,
Yeah, so like his whole career,
he got
He
kicked
sold-
out of Metallica,
he got
right?
kicked out of Metallica, and then he started a new band called
yeah.
I think it was Megadeth. I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
he started that band, became very successful, but never reached the heights that Metallica did.
And hated himself for
So
it.
he always compared himself to Metallica,
Mhm.
even though he was winning and very successful financially.
Yeah.
Like if he just didn't give a fuck, he'd be
Mhm.
very happy, be very successful, and
Mhm.
give himself a pat on the back for the things that he did do. He changed the game in a different way.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have had the same opportunities if he was with Metallica. He would have just been a side piece to the front man. So it's
Mhm.
like those examples like really set in because it's real life and it's
Yeah.
people that are prominent.
And it's not just some hypothetical
no, it's
topic.
a real thing.
Yeah.
Mhm. What about you, Matt?
I would say the most monumental in my life was 12 Rules for Life by Jordan
Oh, yeah.
Peterson.
That's good.
That just got me to think a different way completely. And I would say, I mean, I've read it multiple times, and just coming from a religious background, it helped me with that side of things. And then just with myself, I would say I did a lot of growth in that book, just with the rules and how they apply to you. And, you know, things like compare yourself to who you were, you know, yesterday, not who someone else is today. Just things like that where you're
Yeah.
like, man, like I need to bring this to me and what I can do to improve instead of woe is me, the world's after
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I would say that's a very stereotypical book. A lot of people have read that. One that I really like and an author I really like is Adam Grant and Think Again. And he talks about in that book, I think it's more based on, it's been a long time since I've read it, more from a scientific standpoint, but how scientists essentially chase failure. And that's how, because that's the only way they learn.
Mhm.
And it's basically change the way you think. So it's not, you want to get everything that's right. You actually want to get it wrong because you're never going to get to the answer unless you get things wrong. And I think that applies to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
What about you? What's the most?
Think and Grow Rich. Like that is by Napoleon
yeah.
Hill.
I haven't read that one yet.
I always go back to that book. I've probably read it 5 times. I think everybody should read that book. It taught me about the ability to use your mind to attract the things that you want.
Mhm.
It gives you steps. It gives prime examples of
Yeah.
like Ford and like how that became a business and like just specific people seeking out specific things and having the desire and the faith and then organization and the preparation to see it through. It's like it gives you steps on how to bring these things into your life.
Yeah.
It's like just like the title says, you think rich, you grow rich.
Mhm.
You think minimal, you're probably going to remain minimal. It's like creating the opening and the opportunity for yourself by your thought. Like if I think I can do it, that's the first step.
Mhm.
And then you got to put all of the backing into it and then follow through with it.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic read and it's very easily digestible. It's like without that burning desire to seek out these things that you want,
Mhm.
you will never get there. The desire has to be strong the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I need to read that one.
Yeah. Same.
I'm currently reading $100 Million Offers.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. By the way, he put all this stuff on his Spotify.
Okay.
Both books.
Oh.
What did you take away from that? Did you watch the presentation yet?
About halfway through.
Okay.
And then I've looked at, he has, I guess I should tell you guys this. I looked on his site. He has all these courses and stuff on there too. I had
Oh,
no
that'd be
idea.
Does he really?
He has courses completely free.
Wow.
And the book is already awesome. I was like, damn, like this is out here.
Well, listening to him on Chris Williamson's podcast too, like the amount of preparation. He said he rewrote the book like 6 times.
Yeah.
Like literally scratched it each time and restarted. He
Yeah.
committed to like 6 hours a day for the last 2 years or
Mhm.
something.
He is very prepared.
Wild.
It just shows you. I mean, it's like literally.
Just the levels of this
And
game.
it's like you have to, but again, I think of those things and I'm like, yes, you have to do these things daily. But I think there is, Jordan Peterson talks about this. Sometimes you have to aim lower.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying don't shoot for the stars. I'm just
No.
saying where can you start?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he talks about things like making your bed and stuff. And I know
Right.
that doesn't, people are like, that doesn't make you money and stuff like that. But I'm saying if you are literally the most unorganized person
Yeah,
in the
start
world,
there.
which start somewhere
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
that on a daily basis.
Yeah, I agree.
Just like we'll tell someone, just track your food. Don't
Yeah.
change the habit. Just figure out where you're at.
Well, you got to define yourself by what you do, not
Mhm.
what you think. It's
And
like
then-
Mhm.
it shows the evidence again, which is what he
Yeah.
Hormozy always talks about, stacking evidence.
Yeah.
I'm a clean person, so I need to make my bed. I need to do this, and this. If I'm an organized person, I need to structure my calendar.
Right.
Like if I'm not doing the things that define me
Yeah.
as what I want to
You're not
be.
that person.
And I'm not that person.
Right.
So I can tell myself it as much as I want, but if I'm not living it, it doesn't mean shit.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
So true.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even he says they post 300 pieces of content per week.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
That's a
I
lot.
can post one a day, hopefully.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm reaching for the stars with that.
But also, like, he was somebody that was in this space, like living out of his gym,
Mhm.
like sleeping there, and then like it just we all get to a point where it's just like it becomes efficient.
Yeah.
But-
it'll happen eventually.
Yeah. Just takes time.
One thing I thought about this week that I think would be cool, and you guys can let me know if it sucks, but we start the podcast off with kind of like a recollection of the week before or 2 weeks or whatever it is. I think we should end the podcast with like a what's next. So what are you guys focusing on this next week?
For me, I'm gonna submit those, like the questionnaire and photos with Grego, and then get. She said it takes like 5 to 7 days to get something set up as far as personal programming. So I'm expecting to get that thing rolling probably next week at some point, and then just
Are you going to start tracking before that, or you think you're going to just wait
I'm-
until?
we'll see to
Yeah.
be determined.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna at least start tracking my protein and my sleep,
Mhm.
and then start adding the other stuff in. But I feel like I'm already doing better. Like I've really made it a focus to eat more food.
Yeah.
And like I'm not eating much in the morning, but then when I do eat, I'm eating. Like I got Lean Feast today, about like 6 meals, just because I know I'm not preparing stuff right
Right.
now. So like I will invest the money for now until I create the habit of consistently eating again, and then I'll start prepping my own stuff again.
Love it. What about you, Chris? You have a tough week ahead?
Yeah. Tough 7 weeks.
Yeah.
But basically just kind of dialing in my schedule for the next 7 weeks. Like how I can schedule out clients, like how I was telling you guys, I want to schedule out 3 clients so that I can come home, let Levi out, and then just do whatever I need, disinfect myself, then try to get a workout at least. Cause I think working out right now is as much of it, it's a joy for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like doing everything around the house right now is just my main priority. So taking time away from working out, like I was telling you guys, I'm like only working out 3 to 4 times a week, and I think that's sufficient for me. So just constantly making that schedule of, okay, here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like just dialing that all in. I think that's my big goal for this upcoming week.
Like it.
Love it.
Yeah. How
What
about
about
you?
you?
For me, dialing in the lists is a big one this
Yeah.
week. I mean, I want to start reaching out every day to people
Yeah.
and just getting good at that. That's the next skill that I think I have to be just the leads.
Yeah.
So I want to do that. And then with that, I want to basically create a schedule that aligns with that. So what am I doing on each day? So that instead of guessworking and, waking up and like, oh, I need to do this before, my accountability meeting or whatever it is.
Mhm.
It's like, it's already in there.
Yeah.
And so my schedule, like I could show you, you could do my schedule if you
Right.
needed to. So I think that's where it's at. It's like Monday, it's almost like theme days. I really like theme days. I
Yeah.
get that from sports, but it's like
I mean,
Monday's preparation day, Tuesday.
yeah, I
you
like
know.
that too.
Yeah.
There's specific intention each day.
Mhm.
It's not the same thing each
Yeah.
block.
So I think,
But I think that's for all three of us. Where I think we keep realizing the structure, the organization, this calendar is
Mhm.
probably all of our priorities because it's going to make us all more efficient.
and tracking
And tracking.
food, budget. I've been good about the
budget for
budget,
sure.
so I'm going to keep doing that. And then I think kind of looking at what we said, I want to find something new to track
Mhm.
and pay attention to it, and maybe I can bring
Yeah.
some insight to you guys, and it'd be cool if you guys did that too.
Yeah, it just shows how important these reminders are, though. And
Yeah.
like, this we're doing this for a podcast, but
Mhm.
we're also doing this for accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those reminders help me. So imagine me communicating to my clients like at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get that reminder
Yeah.
why they're doing what they're doing. Are you doing these things because you
Mhm.
told me you wanted to do a certain thing? So let's keep on track. It's kind of what I feel like we're doing.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right on.
Stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Moderately Successful Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Connect with us on our socials, Chris.
Chris J. Chan _.
Austin Rogers Fitness.
And I'm all Maddie. We'll see you guys next time on Moderately Successful.